Welcome back to Earth to Veg. I'm Kelly and today I'll be showing you a super simple summer tofu recipe. It's currently summer over here. I've been cooking a lot of really simple no heat recipes and this is one of them. Perfect to cool down. This recipe is called Hiyayakko. There's very few ingredients involved. Tofu, ginger, and scallions. Oh, and I forgot soy sauce, very important. Now that's all for the optional ingredients, but there are a ton of other toppings you could add. Today I'm also adding some shredded nori or seaweed flakes. You can also add sesame seeds, chili oil, sliced tomatoes, cucumbers, really whatever you want. I mean, don't go like overboard because you don't want to overwhelm the taste of the soy sauce and tofu, but really like you can play around with all the toppings. Okay, let's get started. So first, let's introduce the tofu a bit more. You can see I have a billion packages of tofu here. And the kind of tofu that you want to use for hiyayakko is soft or silken tofu. You want the texture to be really silky smooth. Now Mori Nu is a specific brand of tofu that happens to make all of their tofus in the silken style. So even though you might see some of these tofus say like firm or even extra firm, it's a bit misleading because even though it says firm, it's not actually like a typical pressed firm tofu. I'll open up this firm package so you can see for yourself. But anyways, so yeah, you can use any type of Mori Nu tofu, or if you're using another brand, just make sure you get something that says soft or silken on it. The first step is we're gonna open the tofu packages. Now, there's a small trick to hiyayakko because you don't want the tofu to get broken up when you plate it. You want to try to preserve it as a nice, perfect block. So make sure to open your tofu very carefully. This brand of tofu happens to be quite easy to peel. You just open it up, drain all the water out because you don't want the tofu to be watery. You want the soy sauce to stay concentrated. Now here's the moment of truth. We're gonna put this tofu upside down onto this plate and then just sort of like start squishing it and tapping it a bit until it plops out of the packaging. Oh. So there, that wasn't so bad. Now let me demonstrate the same thing but with the Mori Nu tofu. Now the one annoying thing about these packages is they are a bit hard to take the tofu out of. But let me show you my method. I think this is the easiest way and it ensures that your tofu generally stays together without falling apart. First, look at the top of the tofu and see how there's lines for you to cut the seams. Now just flip both of these flaps up. Take a pair of scissors. And cut off the two sides. Now lift this up and cut that too. Now we've got one side open. Try to drain out as much of the water as you can. And now that most of the water has drained off, we're gonna flip it on its side and open these two flaps as well. Now, if you open the bottom, the tofu should slowly start to slide out. Now, just be patient, let it fall out by gravity, don't try to pull it because the tofu is quite delicate and you might break it if you handle it too roughly. But there we go. The tofu has been safely extracted from the packaging. Now let's put this one on a plate too. Okay, that was the hardest part. Now it's just a matter of putting on the toppings. So first, we'll start with our soy sauce. The tofu blocks that I'm using here are roughly 300 to 350 grams. I found that a tablespoon and a half of soy sauce is the best, but you can sort of eyeball it. You can always add more if you want. I'm using Kikkoman, of course, the classic Japanese soy sauce. I do recommend using a Japanese soy sauce, so let's drizzle it on. Now it's time for the ginger. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of ginger, but it is a traditional topping for hiyayakko. I usually put on a tiny bit, just half a teaspoon is enough for me, just to get a little bit of the flavor without overpowering everything and tasting too bitter. And also, it's important to use freshly grated ginger for the best and freshest flavor. Ginger is on. Now, my favorite part, which is the scallions. I'm using 1 scallion diced thinly per tofu. And last but not least, let's add a little bit of nori garnish to each one. Hiyayakko, ready to eat. Let's take a bite, shall we? Make sure to get a little bit of soy sauce with every bite. The taste of the tofu on its own works super well with just a little bit of soy sauce and some fresh green onions. Super delicious and perfect for a hot day.